welcome to another edition of Wake Up with the Wiltshires.
Good morning, North Street students, staff, anyone else watching, our other students in Grafton and other states. I hear we have students in Connecticut and Maine watching, as well as New York. So hope you're enjoying and learning some things as we go along and with this quarantine. We're going to start off this morning with, as you can see, it's America Day. We have a very special guest we'll be introducing in a few minutes to you. We're going to start with the Pledge of Allegiance, though, with the flag here behind us. We think it's fitting that we shall do that. So without further ado, please join us. I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. All right, beautiful flag we have up there. KK, why don't you go ahead and tell us what the day is? And a little snow yesterday. Hopefully the weather's changing. What's going on outside today?
The weather is sun with a high of 53 degrees. The day of the week is Tuesday, March 24th.
Excellent. So it should be a day where maybe we can go for a walk and get outside again. Hopefully. All right. Looking forward to it. Stephen, tell us a little bit about the word of the day today.
The word of the day is leadership.
Leadership, yeah, very important word. What does leadership mean to you?
It means for me, it means somebody staying ahead and being a big part of the group, just leading the way, just telling people leading the way basically.
Yeah, leadership is really about leading a group of people, directing them, and but working with them, right, and getting their input as well. Caitlin, anything else you want to add about leadership?
No, just like Steven said, leadership is how you lead a group.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And certainly during difficult times, we have a guest today in a little bit that again I'm going to introduce to you, and very famous leader. And let's move on to the word of the day. We just did the word of the day. The number of the day, Caitlin, which is what?
16.
The number 16. Tell us a little bit, Caitlin, about the number 16.
It has 110 and 6 ones.
110 and 6 ones. Excellent. Okay, I like that. Stephen, anything else for you?
16 is a square number because 4 times 4 equals 16, and 4 times itself equals a square number.
Is a square number. So 16 is another one of those fun square numbers. Parents, you can also find all the factor pairs of 16. 1 and 16, 2 and 8, 4 and 4. You can do that for every single number each day, or you could just do a bunch of numbers and play around with them. I wanted to share another way of thinking as well for you at home about numbers and how you can play around with them. So we talked about arrays recently on our show, and I've drawn 2 arrays there to show that there are 2 different ways to draw, actually 3, but these are 2 of the ways to draw an array for the number 16. You can play around with then finding the perimeter, and what's fun about that is you notice the perimeters are different, but the area stays the same. So the number of the day is 16 there, but if you add those perimeters up, the distance around the outside of a shape, you get a different perimeter. Pretty interesting concept for kids. You can play around with, find a lot of good things about that. You can do it at home just by taking a piece of paper and pencil and drawing those arrays. Very excited to introduce a new segment today. This is KK's Knowledge, and she's going to be sharing a little bit about some interesting pieces of information for you. And KK, what's your knowledge you want to share today?
So, actually, the world is a cat playing with Australia.
Yes. KK has decided, she shared with us yesterday during our at-home learning that the world is a cat playing with Australia there, as you can see. And who knew that it was that simple? For those at home that like cats, could do a little research on the world is a cat playing with Australia. Thank you, KK, for sharing your knowledge today. Stephen, do we have someone we want to introduce today?
Yes, we do.
Oh.
Born February 12th, 1809 in Hardin County, Kentucky, he was a lawyer, congressman, the 16th president, Abraham Lincoln.
Hello. I'm so excited to be on Morning with the Wiltshires. I've heard a lot about this show. Thank you for having me.
Mr. President, so great to have you on the show and offering your leadership during this difficult time. We're glad that you could join us remotely. We would have loved to have you here on the set, of course, but given the social distancing requirements, remote learning will do. We have a few questions for you, and we really appreciate your guidance.
All right.
What advice do you have for our viewers on how best to learn at home during this difficult time?
Oh, that's a great question, Caitlin. I have a few recommendations or tips that helped me when I was dealing with the Civil War. These came in very handy. First was to have a routine. Kind of try to do the same basic thing every day. I try to have reading or writing 20 minutes to 30 minutes a day. 15 minutes of your math facts. I had to know all my math facts to know the number of horses we had, the number of soldiers. And then every other day, you can alternate science and social studies work. And then, when you have a chance, work on your specials, like do those activities. If you do that every day, you're going to be in great, great shape.
Excellent. Thank you, Mr. President.
I'd like to thank you for your leadership, Dr. Cummings. Abraham Lincoln. Do you have any words of wisdom you would like to share with our audience?
Oh, I have a lot of wisdom. I'm not sure about that gentleman that you mentioned, but he sounds like a very handsome fella. My wisdom would be, don't drive your parents crazy. And make your bed, clean up after yourself. My kids, little Tad, never cleaned up after himself. If you take something out, say you take the milk out, you drink the milk, you put the milk away. Not that complex, but try to clean up after yourselves. I think that's it for wisdom today.
Yes, Honest Abe, we came across a quote that you once shared that we posted behind us, and it reads, the best way to predict the future is to create it. And we thought that was a pretty good quote from a long time ago that you shared many years ago that also applies to us today. Mm-hmm.
Yes, that was I was very much on that day when I came out with that quote. That's really about just giving your very best every single day. If you do that, things are going to work out beautifully for you. So just try your best every single day. Smile, be nice. It's all you need to do.
That's what we're trying to do, is spread some smiles here and some laughter as well while we're home. I know you're a very busy man, Mr. President, but would you be able to stay on board for the next part of our show, which is called Funny Jokes with
Dad?
I would love that.
Yeah. Do you have any jokes, President, Mr. President, you would like to share?
Yes, I was known for my humor. I've got a couple. They're really pretty good. So brace yourselves. You ready?
I'm ready.
Yeah, I'm ready.
Okay. What do you call me, your 16th president, when I'm driving my car, waiting to turn left at a stoplight?
I don't know.
Abe Lincoln. You think you're ready for another one?
We'll take one more, Mr. President.
All right,
yes.
this one's a real knee slapper. Why was Abraham Lincoln never put in jail?
I don't know.
Not sure. Not sure.
Oh, okay. You ready? This has a visual. Because he was innocent. Get it?
Oh, that's a good one. That's a good one.
Thank you.
Yes, Mr. President, we really would like to thank you for joining us. Before we wrap up, we're gonna finish with more wacky Wiltshires wacky words. We're adding to our top 10 list of words, and we were challenged yesterday to use Caitlin's word bumfuzzled in a sentence.
I have a sentence.
And Caitlin, do you remember what that word meant?
It meant to confuse someone.
To confuse someone. And Stephen, you came up with a good sentence
I really
with.
did. I said I was bumfuzzled when Caitlin brought up the word bumfuzzle.
There you go. Not only once but twice is where we put that in. Yes, and we also forgot about our Animal Adaptations March Madness challenge. Yesterday, overwhelmingly, not even close. I was talking to some friends, and they were shocked that they didn't think that it would be. They thought it would be a little closer when I told them the results. It was shocking to them how much the elephant won by, over 60% winning rate. The elephant won yesterday. So before we get to wacky words with the Wiltshires, let's just quickly go over this week's, today's rather, Animal Adaptation March Madness Challenge. Steven's going to be talking to us about the poison dart frog. Caitlin's going to be sharing the polar bear, correct? Polar bear. And tell us about the poison dart frog, Stephen.
The poison dart frog eats primarily insects. They live in warm and humid parts of the rainforest. The poison dart frogs have toxins in their skin that they can paralyze or kill potential predators, and their bright skin colors warn predators to not go near them.
Wow. Wow, Mr. President, have you ever come across a poison dart frog before in your time?
I have. I've had 3 encounters, and they all. I kind of just went my own way, and it worked out just fine.
Oh, that's some good words right there. I mean, if you see a very shiny, bright colored frog, recommended stay away from that. Skin has poison. I mean, these animals we're learning about are just amazing. Caitlin, what about the polar bear, though?
The polar bears have webbed feet to help them walk across snow or on the thin ice. They have a layer of fat called blubber to keep them warm. They have black skin to absorb the sun's heat and white fur to camouflage.
Wow, very interesting. The polar bear is a very unique animal, has amazing adaptations to survive in such a difficult habitat of the polar region. It is an endangered species, though. Caitlin is very fond of endangered animals. She's been trying to learn some of those as we've been home this week. So she's hoping to learn more about the polar bear and how better to make sure that it continues to flourish. But very cool animal to study today. Look into both of these, poison dart frog, polar bear. Tell us who you think has the most unique adaptations, but spend some time researching them and learning about them today. And now we'll move on. We'll finalize our show with the Wiltshires Wacky Words. And if there's a favorite word, Mr. President, after we're done that you have that you'd like to share, you let us know. We have Stephen first. What is the word you came up with?
I came up with lollygag. It means wasting time or fooling around.
Lollygag, one of my favorite words as well. Wasting time, fooling around, that's a good one, Stephen. Caitlin and I were studying Italy yesterday, and we were that's where some of her family and my family are actually Mrs. Wiltshire's family is from. And we came across a fun word to say, and also it seems fitting. The word is passeggiata. Passeggiata. I think I'm saying that correctly. Passeggiata? Yeah, passeggiata, which means an evening walk or a stroll. In Italy, a lot of families take an evening walk or stroll every single night before dinner time. And Caitlin's getting excited to share her word. So, passeggiata, take that evening stroll today when the weather's going to be a little nicer. What did you find today, Caitlin?
Bumbershoot. Another word for umbrella.
Okay. Yeah, so Caitlin has found the word bumbershoot, another fun word. It basically means an umbrella. We looked it up. At first I was bumfuzzled as to what the word that meant, but then we realized it actually does mean umbrella. So,
some Disney movies
yes,
had it, didn't it?
yes. Any fun words, Mr. President?
I'm trying to think back to fun words in my day. The one that comes to mind is whippersnapper. A young person who is very confident.
Young whippersnapper. Yes. Well, we hope all you young whippersnappers out there are getting to work, doing your at-home learning today and each and every day. And as you know, as always, we like to end our episodes with reminding you it is a great day to
smile.
Thank you, Mr. President.